I cannot see on my laptop Facebook, so I'm gonna ask Buffy and Ashley if they could, and Anna Marie, if they could look at what's going on Facebook and bring any questions that are being asked. We have a phenomenal artist and brand ambassador. We have Sanjay. Sanjay is from or lives in Pune, India. I was able to visit him with Catherine some years ago, and actually we'll be seeing him next February. Welcome, Sanjay. I think you might be on mute. Sanjay, you're on mute. Sanjay, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now.
Yeah. So thank you, John.
Welcome. You're very
Thank
welcome.
you, all the artists. It's a pleasure to share some experiences and some, paint together and see where it goes. I'll be painting a street scene in Pune. I've shared the image with Ethel on mail just now. So if she can share the image, um, I have not started anything. I'll start from a pencil sketch and then quickly go through the painting process. If you have
Awesome.
any
So Ethel,
questions, please feel free to ask. No problem.
are you going to show a slide presentation first? Ethel?
Sorry. Yes, John. Yeah. And
Okay.
I've loaded the image in the same PowerPoint. So we're going to do the PowerPoint first.
One day I'll call it PowerPoint, not slide. I grow up and say PowerPoint. Okay.
There you go. So
Oh,
we're
that's
going to start
beautiful.
with this image here, Sanjay,
Mhm.
the reference
Yes,
photo, I suppose.
yes. So this is a place, relatively old place, about 100 year old, and the guy has opened a shop for selling tires and getting flat tires mended. And the typical sign in India for a shop that takes out the punctures is this yellow tire that is hanging. That's what tells you that you can get your flat tire removed there. And it was a nice afternoon. By the way, I love the hot weather and the uncomfortable afternoons. That's because that gives me the best lighting, very crisp shadows, and that brings out the character of my city. So I went around a few days back looking for a place, and this is what I found. And I've decided to paint this.
Very
Okay.
nice.
So quickly, we'll go through the slides to introduce Sanjay, especially to our new friends here. Switch. And for those who oops, for those who have not followed Sanjay, you can do that now. He's on Instagram. That's his handle there, sanjay.desai.9678. The same handle over Facebook. It's a beautiful cat, Sanjay.
Thank you.
And then, yes, the next couple of slides, Sanjay, we have your latest 5 artworks. I think our friends here would love to hear something about each of the paintings here. We start with this one.
Yeah. This is a basically Pune city is around. It's very old city, but it has been destroyed a couple of times. The last time it got destroyed during a conflict was about 300 years ago. And then, so there are some places which are like between 2 and 300 year old. And now these places are getting renovated. And unfortunately, some are being replaced by modern structures, and very few are being restored to their old design. Of course, the old design was not suitable for modern life, like air conditioning and because it's a hot country, the rooms used to be very small and dark. So this is one of the places that is getting renovated. So I paint these places, and I can tell you in the last 7, 8 years, at least 10 places that I lovingly painted have been destroyed, and modern buildings have come up. So this is one of the place that is that may not be there in another month or so. This is a fortunate candidate. It has remained there simply because this is in a military camp area, and military camp area new developments are a bit difficult. So this has survived, and so that area of the city is a beautiful area to paint because there has not been change. Of course, life may be difficult in these houses, but for watercolor, this is a good place to paint. This is another. It's a community hall from old times. That those three windows are typical Maratha style of architecture from 1600s and 1700s. This is a very, I mean, every watercolor artist in Pune has painted this place. This is Praful Sawant's city, Nasik. I had gone to Nasik a few months back, and I got a few painted there and got back a few images. Nasik is more fortunate in that aspect compared to Pune because it has maintained its old world charm. It's a pilgrimage city, a religious city. Uh, so so there is a lot of industry there, modern industry, but that's outside the city. Uh, so it's not a metropolitan city. There are only local people staying there. So there's a uniformity to the architecture and colors and you know the designs. That uniformity is beautiful. It has been maintained for now, I don't know how many years. But it's a beautiful place to paint, Nasik. And this is a famous burning ghats of Varanasi. So one day everybody must visit Varanasi to get a good idea about life and painting and generally everything under the sun. It's a wonderful place to visit. So this I usually visit Varanasi every year or so. Not visited in the last 2, 3 years because of COVID. But this year, January, February, I'm definitely going to visit there.
Very nice. Okay. So Sanjay, anytime you'd like to begin, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anybody wants to ask any questions, please feel free. I'll make it pretty quick.
Sanjay, I appreciate you sketching for us. Not everybody does that, so we appreciate that.
Well, some people do it because they want the drawing to be very accurate. I just kind of do the outline and leave a lot of things to when I paint, and I miss a lot of things, but I don't mind. A lot of things I miss because I found that if I do too much of detailing at the sketching stage, then I end up being trying to be too accurate, and I get bogged down. So I don't. I avoid detailed paint sketching.
May I ask what size of paper and what kind you're using today?
Yeah, this is Hanamulla paper. The painting size is 14 inch by 14 inch.
Awesome, thank you. And is that a cold press finish?
That's not cold press. That's yeah, it's a cold press. Yes, you're right.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Medium. It's not rough.
Okay.
Sanjay, in the Daniel
Yeah.
Smith, in the Daniel Smith website, there's a little bit of an interview with you, and you talk about, I believe that recreating the atmosphere of that moment is the most important task in making a good painting. Sticking to one
Yes.
style is something I don't believe in. The subject of my painting decides the style. I like it when viewers identify with the subject, the atmosphere, the location,
Yeah.
noise, smell, and textures,
Yeah.
rather than wondering how I achieve that effect, this effect or that.
Yeah. Yes.
Beauty in my mundane life. Can you tell us more about catching the spirit of a place rather than just the technical side, but catching the heart and the atmosphere is one word, spirit would be another. Would you tell us about that? Because as artists, we're limited by our paintbrush, by our pencil, by our paper, by our paint, and
Yes.
we're reaching for something more. I'd love to hear
Yes.
your thoughts.
See, I started painting very early, and I had some very nice gurus. But slowly, what happened was that I thought that the plein air process and the subject, choosing the subject, the process of choosing the subject was getting very kind of standardized. and everybody was choosing the same time, like morning 8 to 10, evening 4 to 6, because it was convenient, the light was nice and soft and this thing. But I thought the real beauty of my city is the crisp shadows in the hot afternoons. And this concept that no, you have to do plein air, and that was preventing me from no, it's impossible to go out and paint in the afternoon in Pune. So that was preventing. I thought, why am I stuck with some concept which is preventing me from showing what my city is? And that's how I started this thinking that it has to show the city. I mean, the point is that when somebody sees a painting, one should not one should not first think about who has done it or how he has done it. You know, these two questions are a distraction to really enjoying the painting. If somebody immediately identifies with the subject and its atmosphere, irrespective of who has painted it and how he has painted it, what medium, what colors, then I think um, the effect of the painting will last longer in the minds of the people, and that is when I think the real um, purpose of creating that painting is achieved. Otherwise, if you continuously, strive to um, practice a certain technique, and of course, there is nothing wrong with it. This is what I think. Um it may not apply to others, but I feel that if somebody continuously practices the same thing, then instead of the artist looking for a good, beautiful experience, which is the first starting point of a painting, uh, the experience, the painting comes later. Instead of that, what we start doing is that we start looking for a experience that suits my style, and that completely limits your uh, entire, experience. So I thought, even if I don't paint everything I see, it's okay, but I must have wonderful, simple experiences, not grand Varanasi, Venice, Rome, not necessary. A simple, beautiful light, having a cup of tea in front of a building that is, nobody knows what that building. So that's what I thought that the experience, if the viewer shares that experiences and he feels the heat or the cold or the weather and the noise and everything uh, that I want to show in my painting, if he feels that, I think that is when the purpose of the painting is achieved. I hope I am. If you have any.
That was so beautifully said. That you don't have to travel the world and see all these amazing places, that just some sunlight falling on something in a certain way can become the most beautiful art. I love that. Thank you.
And I increasingly started believing in another thing, that for a serious artist, I think the subject needs to be close to his culture, his geography, and his life. Of course, when you travel once in a while and when you are in Rome, it's beautiful to paint. It's beautiful to paint, but uh, the majority of your work needs to be around something that you live on a daily basis. So I think if your work is close to your culture, then it comes out better. And that's when I started seeing a lot of these documentaries, and I noticed that all the great artists, um they either chose to go to a certain place, stay there and paint, or they painted their own world. They did not shift subjects, or they did not shift subjects on day-to-day basis. Today I paint floral, tomorrow I paint a bird, next day it's a snowy this thing. They did not do that. They stuck to a subject and went after it day after day and months, and I'm also a kind of artist who takes time. I fail a lot. So for a person like me, it takes 200-300 paintings to get a grip of a subject and its atmosphere. I can't. I don't. I can't do it in one go. And I mean, of course, with a lot of experience, you can, of course, come out with something that is good looking. That's not a problem. But if you really want something really great to come out, I think you have to spend a lot of time with that subject and explore the possibilities. And that is another thing, that if you go after a particular technique, then you'll almost have a recipe of any good painting, and that, I think, goes against the principle of, I mean, my principle of creating the atmosphere from the fundamentals. If something is rough and stark and kind of harsh, then it has to look harsh. What's the point in me trying to make it soft and nice? So I think it's important to be, of course, you can paint whatever you want. That's not a problem. But the major work should have focus of something that is close to your heart. I believe that when you live in a certain culture or a geography or something like that, then your body and mind absorbs a lot of those inputs, and you can't really uh, tell them, but you already know something, but you don't know what it is, and that knowledge, invisible knowledge, comes out when you paint your own geography and culture. I hope I am not getting too complicated and am I making sense?
Yes.
Yes, very much so. Thank you for the insights. We love seeing the technique and the technical aspects, but also hearing from the artist is so vital to all of us. Thank you.
Sanjay, I think it's important that you share what you're sharing, because we can see you putting that into your work too. And we're understanding your heart and your technique at the same time. So we're all really absorbed in what you're sharing.
Thank you.
You're a philosopher.
Penny, I didn't know you were there.
I missed you.
So you are going to. I hope you are coming to Pune during your trip.
I'm coming to the wedding.
Oh yes. So we'll talk about that. I was just going to call Milind and ask when is Penny coming.
What are the pigments that you're using now, Sanjay? That red and
That
then
red is my favorite red, which is the transparent pyrrole orange. And these others are a mixture of raw amber and some cobalt turquoise, a little bit of pink. But basically this, we want to create a texture here and we'll enhance that later.
thank you.
Wisteria, I think, yeah, I have mixed a little bit of wisteria. This is a simple kind of way, because I sometimes it's difficult for me to start with the middle tone. This I kind of cover a very light tone, but then I start getting an idea where this is going.
And it's also profitable. And yet the hair is seamless wrap. I'm so obsessed.
We have a question over on the Facebook side from Candy, and she's asking, may I ask what the angle he generally uses for his board? Thank you.
See, frankly, it's very convenient to paint at a 45 degrees angle. But when I paint landscapes, I typically paint these large plain landscapes, lot of ground and fields and a little trees. So in that case, a little bit of wet on wet technique comes in, for which I have to go horizontal with very less angle, like 10 or 15 degrees. But most of the cityscapes, because they are because there is not much of wet on wet, so there is no danger of color getting mixed, and so it's most convenient to do at 45 degrees angle.
Something I really love about your work, Sanjay, is that you have your base colors in the neutral warms and cools, and then you add the very exciting color pops, the little bits of bright color. Can you talk about the colors you use for that, please?
Yeah, well, I have kind of days of favorite color. So these days, my favorite is the transparent pyrrole orange. And of course, there is this mix of the violet that I make out of cobalt, turquoise, and opera. So they create a wonderful texture, and for popping out, of course, the Hansa yellow medium. This is the one, and because I paint the afternoons, um, the most popping of colors is done by creating a contrast rather than um, using bright colors. Of course, I use bright colors, but the most effective popping is, I believe, comes from creating a major contrast, a very strategic contrast. If I create, then I'll just show it to you now.
Wonderful, thank you.
That's another thing that I've been trying, which I'll try to demonstrate here, is that after I go do the first wash, I directly go to the darkest of the dark. Let it dry, and then I add the middle. I tend to get a better control with this technique. And for darks, I avoid as much as possible using black. I create darks by mixing ultramarine and transparent pyrrole orange. That and somehow I feel that the darks created with these combinations, uh, they are more lively than using direct black.
We have another question on the Facebook side. Mon
Yeah.
Paul is asking, how do you choose color, sir? I am asking how you combine color in a picture, that a picture looks nice. Thank you.
Well, I think one of the advices that was given by the great masters is to forget the name of the color and keep on working till you get the right color. Have patience. Uh, till you get the right color. Keep on mixing. Of course, some kind of color harmony, idea of a harmony has to be there in your mind. But once you start doing this, I think you start getting a fairly good idea of what works and what doesn't work. So I hardly ever use pure colors. Most of them are mixed. Of course, sometimes the black and the sky or are pure, but mostly it is not. Yeah, finally, I think it comes to you have to see a painting in a subject, and because everything else is technical, like everything else can be put into a formula and can be worked out with a kind of technique. So, and that is a physical skill. So this happens, and then there is a dead end unless you have your own vision. So once you know, you can do whatever you want with color and pencil and everything on a paper, and you get complete control and relatively good control over your medium. Finally, it comes down to what you see in your mind, right? And if that finally it comes down to whether you are able to see something beautiful. And the real difficulty, I think, starts when you have mastered mastered the medium and it starts behaving the way you want. That is the most dangerous case, I believe. Because I think in the initial phases, when I was learning, you get a painting fairly good average, but it starts looking like what you want to show, and you are happy. No. Mm. So just a little bit of, as long as people recognize what you are painting, you are happy. That stage passes pretty quickly. And the most difficult stage to overcome is when your paintings start getting accurate. And they do start getting more accurate than beautiful. And that's the most, I believe, the most difficult stage to cross.
Thank you for that.
We have a comment on the Facebook side, and it's coming from Charmaine. I'm sorry, I'm losing my place there for a moment. I apologize, I lost my place. Charmaine says, thank you for allowing us to learn all these wonderful techniques and advice. Thank you. That expresses the sentiment that so many of us are feeling. We are really enjoying the wisdom you're sharing. Thank you.
So this is a very fundamental kind of division of space. Now it has to make sense. So these things have to merge, and it's looking flat. Yeah. So we start working on making them more realistic.
We have another question on Facebook for you. We're having some really good questions today. Shazia is asking, the most important thing that I want to ask is, what should be the consistency of the color when you apply it on a wet surface? The ratio of water and pigment. Thank you.
It's different for different pictures, but I think painting typically needs to be at least divided in three tones, right? And I think the technical answer to this question is you can find it in the watercolor clock by Joseph. He has defined it perfectly as to what goes on in the brush, in the water, and in the pigment and the paper. So it's a combination of all these fours, and it's difficult to explain. And it's easier than people think. If you do it consistently on 2 or 3 papers, then you can get a good hold of the tones, and you can quickly learn how to control the pigment quantity, how much water needs to be there. Um, it's not so difficult. I know it's very intimidating in the learning stages, but actually it is not so difficult. One thing I have noticed in my watercolor learning is that uh, we get kind of bogged down with certain things. I can't paint this, I can't do that, and if you just keep on painting, uh, one day you realize that that difficulty is gone, and you never know when did you overcome that difficulty. Well, it just vanishes, and you don't even. It's like learning to ride a bicycle, and you don't know when exactly you mastered the trick. That that keeps on happening in watercolor in for me.
We have a follow-up question
Yeah.
on Facebook, but I see Angela answered it. To learn from Joseph, and we assume you're learning from Joseph. I can't pronounce his last name. Zhubvik Watercolor Clock. Okay. Another question that we had was from Angela, and she's asking, are you thinking a lot about warm and cool? Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I do. More than colors, I keep on thinking about warm and cool. And I also have found out, especially for my subject, uh, if there is an equal balance of warm and cool, then things don't work. So it has to have a bias of either, uh, for my subject, of course, you can have, but if the warm and cool are balanced, then I don't know, something goes wrong. I don't know what goes wrong, but I feel odd. It looks odd. But the way to think is warm, and that's where the Daniel Smith 256, whatever the colors, they come in very handy, because instead of trying to mix a lot of colors, you get a choice ready-made, and at least they give you an idea that this is the color, and once you see the chart and keep on working with the chart, then you can get a mm, good idea of what could look good. So you can choose. You get a better choice, because otherwise, if you try to mix and see one color is working, the other is not, it's going to take a lot of time.
Sanjay, there's about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll finish it. Okay.
Could you please show us your reference photo again, please?
Ethel, can you? I think Ethel has shared it on the.
Um, yes, and we can share it again on the chat. Hang on.
Thank you very
Is it
much.
Larry? Yeah. Yeah, Larry. I'm sending it now, Larry. Downloads. Thanks, Letty. It's in the chat now, Larry.
Seeing your original image, your ability to simplify is just awesome.
Thank you. You just add a few finishing touches. झालं? हम्म.
I was curious about the blank, big blank white square. Are you leaving it that way for a reason or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually,
It's so big.
Sometimes I don't know what to do with it, so I just leave it. Yeah, it's a billboard. If I had more time, I would have done some work on it. For example, you could disturb that by adding these details here. So there is something here. Suddenly, this is not so.
We have some really lovely comments on the Zoom side. Diane is saying, I feel like I could walk into that dark on, it's moving. Walk into that dark on the bottom corner. And then Lori Howell is also saying how he has trained his eye to see the beautiful parts of his environment is amazing.
Yeah, I think many times I get so used to our own environment that we fail to see the beauty of our own background, surroundings. And if you are living in a beautiful place, then it's okay. But I think stop here. Just a sketch. I hope you like it.
Beautiful.
I will probably work another half an hour on this, but not much more. So it's looking a little too bright, I think, in the
But this is looking
I'll show you
brilliant.
some details.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. It's amazing an hour.
So lovely. I love all the calligraphic little marks you make to create the details. It's beautiful, Sanjay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, dear.
When you're done with it, would you post it? Oh, it was great. I think the words you were saying were really enlightening, and it was wonderful to see you come up with something so beautiful so quickly. And you drew as well, which is so wonderful to watch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll post
Thank you
this. I'll
very
send it to Ethel, and maybe she'll post it, or
yeah, Ethel can post it to the main site so everybody can see the finished work.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
Thanks, Sanjay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you,
for joining.
Sanjay.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Sanjay.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Good weekend.
So beautiful.
Wonderful
Thank you
weekend.
so much.